And let's see, moving on tonight, the next person we have waiting to talk is, you're not going to believe this, Genevieve. It is another Bigfoot call. All right.
What?
Yes, you have attracted the Bigfooters tonight.
I'm so
Mark,
excited.
Mark, hello. You are on with BrainBug and Genevieve. And you believe in Bigfoot because you met him in person. I am freaking fascinated
Yeah,
to find out about
a
this.
couple of times.
All right.
You guys have the patience of the gods, I'm telling you.
Oh,
I've been sitting here since quarter after when you started and listening to everybody that's talking, and I just think you have a lot of patience.
well, yeah, we talk to all kinds of people with all kinds of beliefs, and you gotta take your time and kind of break it down. You gotta maybe put yourself in that person's shoes and think, why do they believe this is true? But you meeting Bigfoot sounds like something that you should definitely be able to to demonstrate for us, or give us your great evidence for, because I'm sure you wouldn't have called us if you didn't have something fascinating to share. So go right
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, I'm not no young guy. I'm in my 60s,
Mhm.
and I've seen and heard so many different things in my life. It would just baffle your mind. But as far as, because I saw the thing that he put on asking if why do you believe in Bigfoot, so that's why I called. And coming up on one face to face, waiting for you on the side of your porch when you get home from work is a pretty good one.
That actually sounds terrifying. Terrifying. Please elaborate, because it sounds like there's maybe a story here, maybe a little bit of backstory too, that you can kind of fill us in on. You're coming home
Okay,
from
well,
work.
once upon a time, but this was in 1980. I worked on a dairy farm, and
Mhm.
I worked from morning to night, and I went to work in the dark and came home in the dark. So I come home one night, and I lived in a bungalow away, about 5 miles away from the main road, and my closest neighbor was a mile away. So anything around me were fields and woods. I come home, and I had a screened in porch. Walk into the screen door. I get to the middle of the porch. I already had the key to the door in my hand because I couldn't see to get it out of my pocket and fumble around with the keys. And I got halfway through the porch, and I heard something really big get up off the ground. And being when you work on a farm and you listen to a cow get up off the ground, it makes a specific noise when you hear something that big get up. And I just stopped dead in my tracks and just stood there for a second listening. And I could hear it breathing. The only problem was the breathing was coming from the very top of the screen, which was 8 feet high. So as I stood there, it didn't move. It just stood there and watched me. And being it was pitch dark, I didn't have any lights on. I couldn't see. So I stood there and listened for a minute. I tried to think, what could that be? It just stood up. And as I listened to it breathe, I realized that it's got to be Bigfoot, because what else is going to stand tall enough to reach the top of the screen? So hair went up on the back of my neck. I ran for the door. Key went right in the hole. I couldn't believe it. Ran in, shut the door, turned the kitchen light on, and stood there for a minute thinking to myself, oh my God, I have to see it. I know nobody's going to believe me. I have to run out here
Yeah.
and see it. So I grabbed the butcher knife, the biggest butcher knife I could out of the butcher block, throw it on the porch light, which is on the inside of the screen. I run back out, slide about 3 feet into the middle of the porch, right in front of the screen where he was standing, and stopped and was looking right through the screen at him. But I couldn't get a good look. And he's still standing there, and he's watching me, and he's breathing. You could almost feel the breath coming through the screen on the top of my head. So I got really worried that if he's not leaving, he's probably going to reach in and grab me. So I repositioned my footing with the knife in my hand because I'm thinking he's going to get stuck if he comes through. He turned and ran. He took off, and each step cleared so much ground. He moved so fast when he hit the wood line. All I could hear was limbs and trees and snaps and thumps, and where he kept on running until he was clean out of distance. As I
All
stood there
right.
with the hair up on the back of my neck.
Wow.
That sounds like a terrifying experience. I'm glad you made it out okay. I
And
do
for
have
some reason,
questions.
I never worried about him coming back.
I got a few questions about this experience. So,
All right.
what part of the? I'm guessing you're in North America, either U.S. or Canada, probably. Where are you located at? You don't have to give me exact details.
That was on the eastern shore of the state of Maryland,
Maryland.
Oh,
Okay.
my
United
home
States.
state. I didn't know we had Bigfoots in Maryland. I'll have to check that out.
Oh, there is so many here. It's unbelievable.
I do have a quick question. Was, if you say that you saw Bigfoot, what has the media misportrayed about him? Like, we all have this idea that, like, I when I think of Bigfoot, I have like an idea in my head what he looks like. Would he be offended by our portrayal? Does it look completely different than what you would expect based on the other renderings we've seen over the last few decades?
To my demise, I didn't get a really good look. Mostly just the shaping, because I was trying to see him through the screen. So I didn't get any clear look. And of course, I didn't have a camera at the time or anything. But
you mean back in the 80s, people didn't carry cameras all the time?
What's that?
So do you mean back in the 80s, people didn't carry cameras with them all the time?
Not like they do now.
Yeah.
There wasn't no cell phones or nothing like that.
We had a lot more Bigfoot pictures back then, though.
Yeah, well, the way the media puts it out there, they just keep posting so much blurry stuff. I can't go for the blurry stuff, and I can't go for all the structures that they say. I'm an avid hunter. I spend 3/4 of the year in the forest, in the woods, and I see all these different things that they put on pictures on with bent over trees and stuff like that. They're not from Bigfoot. Bigfoot's not bending over these trees. So I don't know what these people are coming up with, because they never have any evidence that the Bigfoot did it. You know what I mean? There's no video evidence showing the Bigfoot bending over all these trees and making all these X's in the woods and all that. I'm in the woods all the time. I don't see that. I'm in the woods that the Bigfoot live in, and I don't see that.
But you think that it's an animal, am I right? Because we've had a couple of callers tonight. You're our third Bigfoot caller. We've had a pretty Bigfoot heavy episode.
Yeah.
But the last two people who talked about Bigfoot thought it was an interdimensional entity, maybe. But you think
I don't think it's interdimensional. If it had the ability to blink in and out and disappear and all that, I'm sure both times that I had encounters, that probably should have happened. So why would the Bigfoot run through the woods and knocking over logs and trees and everything if he had the ability just to blimp out?
That's like that guy was talking about. Oh, it didn't touch any of the foliage, but I heard a twig snap, and it's like, I was thinking, how's that work? But at least I think your idea is more grounded. I'm glad that you're able to bring the discussion to an animal. So if you think, do you think it's an animal? Am I right? It's a
big heavy animal.
Okay.
And it breathes just like any other animal does.
Mm-hmm.
So now
you know what I mean? So I don't know if anybody's ever been close enough to listen to him breathe, but I have.
There have been reports of people having actual physical contact and actually getting kidnapped and stuff by Bigfoots. There's old stories about that. But do you think it's a primate, like a monkey, or I say monkey? When I say primate,
I don't think it's a monkey. I don't think it's a primate at all, because it has the same foot structure as a human, just pretty much. The foot's 5 toes.
Humans are primates too, so that's fair. We're great apes.
A monkey's big toe is actually like a big thumb.
Yeah.
So their feet are not the same at all.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
Well, I mean, apes are monkeys, and then and then humans are apes. So
yeah. Yeah.
But that's getting into animal classification. Do you think it's related to humans? I got you.
Well, I don't know how human it is, because nobody's put one on the table. Mm-hmm. But around where I live at, there has been so much going on around here that people have been threatened to be quiet, and it's just crazy.
In Maryland?
Yes.
To be quiet about Bigfoot, huh?
Maryland's not a very big state, but there's a lot going on over here.
That's for sure. I'd never heard of any sort of Bigfoot activity in Maryland, but I'm definitely curious to look into it since, you're talking about my backyard. I could definitely go out there and look into this. I guess what's curious to me, though, is that, you are sure that this is Bigfoot, but, you had your keys out because you couldn't see. You can't really give a description of what he looked like because it was too dark. You couldn't see. We also have
I can't,
bears,
but
and we also have big humans that might want to break into your house, and you could have just scared somebody away at the right moment. I think that,
brandishing a butcher knife, it'd send me running through the
yeah,
forest.
absolutely.
If I was trying to break into your
I
house.
was in my 20s at the time, and I was kind of fearless, but
yeah.
I don't know what I'd do if I walked up on him at that point. But the second experience, I was coming up the road in a car down a back road with my girlfriend, which is now my wife. There was 3 sets of eye shine along the fence line.
Mhm.
And as I come up the road, I knew the farmer, and I was like, oh, shoot, the guy's horses are getting out because I could see the eye shine. So I stopped the car in the middle of the road and opened the door, got out, and walked around the backside of the car. And these 3 big eye shines came down the hill on the side and walked right out into the middle of the blacktop road. So they stood there behind me, and all I had for light was the taillights on the car. So it wasn't very bright shining out the backside of the car, but I could still see the eye shine. And I didn't hear any clippity clop from horse hooves on the blacktop. And I stood there for a minute thinking how weird that was. How is it that a horse don't make noise on blacktop? So then all 3 of them at the same time started walking towards my car. And as they got closer and closer, there was no steps. Like if you're in bare feet, you're not going to have any sound. As they came up closer, I'm realizing these 3 sets of eye shine are 8 feet off the ground. And as the silhouettes of their bodies started coming into view, I said, oh crap, they're not horses. I jumped in the car and hauled ass.
So what did the silhouette?
I wasn't taking a chance.
Like a traditional
What?
Bigfoot silhouette? Was it, basically like Patterson
Yes,
Gimlin?
it was traditional Bigfoot silhouettes. I mean, they were huge. They were just standing shoulder to shoulder from each other and just started walking towards me. And as I could see the outline coming towards me, I'm like, oh, not a horse. They're not horses, and especially being that tall. I mean, a normal horse, their head is maybe 6-7 feet off the ground. These were higher. So,
and this is in Maryland too, right?
That was my second experience.
Okay.
What's that?
Yeah. So, and this was in Maryland as well?
Yes, it was. It was probably maybe 5 or 6 miles from where I was living, when the other one came by me by my porch.
Okay.
So, and it was probably almost a year later.
So, and you think it's, you agree that it'd be an animal. You think that what you saw was definitely a physical animal, nothing supernatural or
big animal
about it.
Big bipedal and bipedal. So it wasn't like it was any other kind of animal there.
And it had eye shine. That's the peculiar thing that I always find about these Bigfoot sightings, because one of the distinctive characteristics of the great apes, the hominids, which we are part of the group, and presumably Bigfoot would be too, is that they don't have a how you say it, tapum lucidium, the part of your eye that causes the reflection that creates eye shine when lights are shining on it. So humans lack that, and all the known apes lack that as well. So if Bigfoot was an ape, we wouldn't expect eye shine. So that's a really peculiar feature of the organism, if indeed it's an animal.
I get you.
So it really would be kind of a shakeup of our classification system and the way we understand how these features and physiological characteristics evolve in different clades, and how essentially, since our ancestors of all hominids lost this feature, the chances of developing again in a new lineage further down the road is very, very slim. Not impossible.
Right.
Nothing, of course, is impossible, but not to be expected in what we find in new species of
Right.
primates.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I don't understand, like the other guy said, where you don't find any dead ones in the woods, or you don't find any scat from them, and you know what I mean. All different kinds of stuff like
No
that.
roadkill.
I don't understand it, but I've walked right along and found the tracks. I belong to a Bigfoot research group here where I live at, and these guys go out, and I go out with them, and we've come across tracks and taken the plaster cast molds, and even as recently as this past turkey season here in Maryland, my cousin and his daughter went turkey hunting, and there's a big section of woods. It's 4,000 acres of state land, and the game warden met them on the dirt road and told them, be careful of the Bigfoots in these woods. Now this comes straight from the game warden's mouth. The game warden told them they had 3 different size tracks, so they knew there was 3 different size ones in the woods. So when my cousin came in and told me that, I said, "Yeah, well, I've already seen the footprints.
Well,
I hunt the same woods."
I tell you what, it sounds like you're doing Bigfoot research and stuff. You may have some great experiences and investigations that you could share with us on future calls. So we definitely love to have you call back. You've been a joy to talk to, Mark. You're open to suggestions of other explanations. I appreciate that, and we really do enjoy delving into these topics. Now we are running out of time here. We got one more caller in the queue, so I do want to let you know, Mark, we appreciate you, and let you get the last word in before we go on to the next call.
Well, that's all I got for you. I mean, I could talk your ear off on all the other things that's going on around here, but I'll save it for next time.
Yeah, give us a call back, because we love these conversations, and I totally steamrolled you again, Genevieve. I've been doing it all night.
I don't mind at all. It's I've never been on a show with you. It's just it's really nice to listen.
This is my bread and
great.
butter. These are the calls that I enjoy and enjoy engaging about, especially when it comes to biology and talking about animals and stuff.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
I've literally never talked to anybody who believed in Bigfoot until now, and to know that this is like an area that you really care about and are knowledgeable about, I am so glad that you're on here. I would be fairly lost. Although I do enjoy the culture around Bigfoot. I think I have a Sasquatch sticker somewhere.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun stuff with it.
Yeah.
All right, Mark. Well, we're going to go ahead and let you go, but you enjoy the rest of your evening and listen to this last caller if you get a chance, because we're going to get into UFOs here.
Already. Okay, you guys have a good night. I got UFO stories and all that too. Paranormal, you name it. I've seen them all.
Awesome.
We look forward to it there, Mark. You have a good one. Bye-bye.
Alrighty. Bye.
All right. So, Bigfoot heavy. This has been the most Bigfoot calls we went months and months without any cryptozoology or anything, and I think Ethan must have joined some Bigfoot groups or something and started engaging with some of these fun callers that we've been getting. We appreciate all the hard work Ethan puts in. I just want to take a second just to give Ethan a plug. So our channel's still pretty young, or the show's still pretty young. We still need to go out and engage with these communities to let them know that we're taking these calls so that they can come out here. Ethan spends his weeks engaging with these folks and finding great callers for us to talk to live on our stream with you guys. So thank you so much, Ethan, Mike.